Assalamu alaikum, my dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam. Did you know there's 200,000 Muslim youth in the greater Chicago area? But unfortunately, Muslims have no connection to the masjid or the Muslim community. I'm talking about zero, zip, zilch, nada. Basically, they're disconnected. And only about 6,000 of them attend Islamic school. That's less than 5%. So where are these Muslim youth? Are they in the library studying? No. Maybe they all became geniuses and went straight to college. Nope. Maybe they're in public schools? Yes. Ew. Exactly. If you went to public school, then you know what happens in public school. 2020 did a special about public schools which was called Stupid in America. Need I say more? No. But public schools, they're not so bad. No, it's bad. How bad? Bad. That bad? Yeah, that bad. Oh. You know that commercial that says whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? It's kind of like that, but for kids. Do you know what I'm saying? What type of Islam do you think your kids are learning in public school? Unfortunately, only the Islam that's taught in the history books. You know, that's usually where the Muslims are painted as the bad guys. Add that to the pressures of sex and drugs in school. Combine that with a bunch of youth struggling through identity crisis, while at the same time being surrounded with haram temptations. No wonder so many non-Muslims send their kids to private schools. Did you know 50% of Christian kids get some form of Christian education? And 4 out of every 5 Jewish kids get some form of Jewish education? So what happens to a large majority of Muslims who don't get any Islamic education? They get lost with no directions. So why aren't the Muslim kids here in Chicago in Islamic schools? Because they just don't want to be here. In other words, as soon as these kids are old enough to say no to their parents, they're out. In other words, it's see you later, alligator, adios amigos, sayonara, and goodbye. Mwah! But why? Excellent question. So let's get some answers. So we asked numerous young Muslims about their weekend school experience, and this is what they had to say. One young female student said when she's at the weekend school, she feels like opening the window and jumping out. Mind you, she's on the 2nd floor. This is bad. Another person said, each weekend she and her sister would hide in the car to avoid to go to Islamic school. Eventually their parents stopped sending them to Islamic school. Apparently the car was the last place they would look, because why would the kids hide in the car? They want to go in the car because if they get in the car, then they're going to Islamic school. People, this is pathetic. I can go on, but I think you get the picture. This is starting to sound like more like avoiding prison than avoiding Islamic school. So you're sitting there wondering why my kids don't like Islamic school. Another excellent question. So here are the answers. It's intimidating and morbid. You kids are bad. Shh. Excuse me? What? Yeah, I was wondering, can we talk about paradise as for a change? Silence! You kids are bad. You need to learn about Jahannam and burning in the hellfire. Instead of talking about only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's punishment, talk about His mercy and His forgiveness. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy excels His wrath. Also, if the word of the day is always haram, then what kind of message do you think you're giving the kids about Islam? Don't get me wrong. If they're doing something wrong in Islam, correct it, but do it in a nice way. This isn't haram weekend school. This is Islamic weekend school. Big difference. And the Prophet ﷺ used to smile. So smile. Yeah, kind of like that. Maybe it's just a little bit too much. And remember, if you spend the whole time looking angry, then you'll forget how to smile. Smile? Kind of like that. The lessons are not relevant to our current cultural context. Crush? What do you mean you have crush? What is crush? There's no crushing people in Islam. Islam is peace. Not peace as peace. Okay, I'm going to basically tell you the truth. Since I'm some random guy on the internet and no one knows, no one's going to take this personally. You and your students have a disconnection. In other words, your students are not being raised in the middle of the East. They are being raised in the middle of America. And as you know, America is filled with so many obstacles for Muslim youth who are trying to do good. They're constantly bombarded with pressures of dating, drugs, dancing, alcohol, pop culture. They're surrounded. As teachers, we need to relate to the youth by covering issues that relate to them. The curriculum is weak. As kids like to say, it's boring. It's boring. It's time to revitalize our weekend school program. Let us adopt innovative, engaging methods. Let us use creative and artistic means of delivering Islam to the hearts of the young. Look, I'm not here to criticize you. You're all smart teachers. And the reason you're sitting in the chairs you are is because this administration thinks you can do it. With a little creativity and effort, we can make a huge difference. You can make a huge difference. Now you're asking yourself, who is this guy? They brought this guy, put the video on, they said some flyers, like, oh, we have a video presentation for you. Who is this guy? Is he even a teacher? He's not a teacher, is he? Is he a teacher? He's a teacher? You're a teacher? Yes, a long time ago, I used to be a teacher. Yeah, a real teacher. You? A teacher? But you look so young. Why, thank you. I taught both in Islamic and un-Islamic schools. Un-Islamic, that's not even a word. It doesn't matter, I'm a teacher, I can make up words. I later became an instructor at the Learning Tree University, was a volunteer sports coach for 3 years, and also was hired by the masjid to be a teacher there as well. Finally, in my local school district, I ended up being a kindergarten through 5th grade teacher, specializing in science. All that, but yet you look so young. Oh, wow. Why, thank you again. But seriously, I got my fair share of teaching rowdy kids, so I know it can be frustrating. I mean, kids are not always easy to deal with. Some kids will drive you crazy. Yeah, that's how I feel sometimes. In other words, I know how you feel. I mean, sometimes you feel like more like a babysitter than a teacher. And in a perfect world, all the kids will sit quietly in their chair and listen to your every word. And instead of playing with their bogeys and their boogers, they'll be paying attention to your every word. But we don't live in a perfect world. We as teachers are put in a position that we can make a difference. But complaining doesn't change the situation. As you know, Islam is perfect. But unfortunately, Muslims are not. As teachers, we can make a difference by educating the next generation, so they can follow Islam properly. So they can make a difference in this world, inshallah. SubhanAllah, the difference you as a teacher can make is so huge. I'm sure all of us can remember our favorite teacher from childhood, and how much of an impact they made, no matter how young we were. Sometimes we feel so frustrated that we feel like we're not making a difference. But do not judge your actions by the fruits that you see in this life. Because sometimes you may not see the fruits of your actions until the hereafter. And that is the reason that many of you are here today. So you can do actions for good. So you can get rewarded from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so you can make a difference, inshallah, for this ummah. This is Ali reminding you just in case you forgot. This is Ali reminding you just in case you forgot.
If you never smile, then you may end up looking like this. And then when you try to smile, it will look like this. That's just because you never smile. So, smile.